Hello YouTube. I wanted to make a video about a study I read about using video games to cope and my own personal experience going through addiction. I'm going to explain my story and how video games eventually intertwined within my life. Then we're going to loop back around and I'll explain my opinion on the subject. Please enjoy. Video games have not always been my go-to coping mechanism. Video games have always been there, yes, and to an extent they have helped me cope with loss, regret, and even more. My original coping mechanisms derived from my early teens. What started as having fun with friends slowly turned into a real problem. I'm talking about alcohol and Xanax specifically. There were a few other go-to drugs, but those were the two main culprits. I was addicted. Anytime I got a slight irritable sensation, I'd reach for a bottle of pills or a fifth of liquor. After high school and a very short stint in college, I decided just to go into the workforce head on. As I matured, stressors became ever more evident. What went from a few drinks on the weekend and a pill at night turned into excessive use. Bills, life, and my inevitable slum into depravity had reached an all-time high. Every aspect of my life was completely falling apart. My relationships, friendships, and work life, it all came crashing down. The miserable life I was living climaxed when I wrapped my car around a tree while intoxicated. I was 23. I'm 25 now, and I can proudly say I've been sober ever since. Some people say physical withdrawal is the worst part about sobering up, understandably so, considering Xanax and alcohol withdrawal can kill you. But after a week, at least for me, most of the physical symptoms ceased to exist. That's when the true challenge, in my opinion, actually began. The mental aspect of sobriety basically took up every single fabric of my mental capability for upwards of 3 months. Still to this day, I'll run into a stressor and feel the onslaught of anxiety start rushing in. After the initial 3 months, sobriety became rhythmic. I found new work via my father at a local warehouse. I was finally enjoying being myself again. One thing was missing, however. Whenever I was not at work, I felt incredibly lost. I felt lonely, sick, and pathetic. I'm by no means a medical professional, so take this with a grain of salt. Only 2 things satisfied my feel of content: going for quick runs and playing video games. Both, essentially, keeping my mind and body preoccupied for sets amount of time. Work and sleep filling in the other voids. I wanted to make a video about my personal story because I've been reading a few articles on video games as coping mechanisms. According to the website psychnet.apa.org, the hypothesis was tested in 2 survey studies. According to the website psychnet.apa.org, they stated the hypothesis was tested in 2 survey studies using undergraduate samples. Study 1 found that using video games as a means of coping with setbacks or stress uniquely predicted video game addiction symptoms, even after controlling the frequency of gameplay. As someone who's gone through addiction, I can completely understand that everybody is different and everyone reacts differently to certain things. I play video games for about 15 hours, give or take a week. I have an addictive personality, yes. Yet, I never find myself needing to play video games. Video games indeed do help me relieve stress, as I've stated before, as one of my go-tos for the first year of sobriety. After the first year, and me growing as an individual, I found other outlets to sway off stress. I wasn't solely relying on games and exercise to feel normal. I was out living my life. I met new people and I started down new paths in life, and I haven't looked back. Do I think I'm addicted to video games? Of course not. Do I think people can become addicted to video games? Of course I do. Anyone can be unethically obsessed with anything. I need mental stimulation occasionally. Video games are the perfect outlet for that stimulation, especially after a rough day at work. Sometimes I need that familiar feeling of not only my body, but also my mind unwinding. I don't want to drag this video out any longer than it has to be, so I'll leave off on this. I'm happy I found healthier alternatives to what was the norm for me. Playing Tetris every day will always be better than taking a shot. It will always be better than popping a pill. It will always be better than injecting anything. If you made it to the end of this video, then thank you for watching. I didn't intend to rant, but I just needed to get this off my chest. And it's really just a big topic for me personally, but everyone is their own person, and I understand if you completely feel differently than me. I just wanted to talk about this specific article, and it kind of just, ruffled my feathers a little bit. But thank you for watching. That's all I have for you. See you next time.